Here.
Are we go?
We are go.
Go.
Hey,
Just
hello
start. Come
everybody.
on. You're
It's
off script
if
already. We
I
haven't
know.
even started and you're off script. How does that work?
How's that even possible? Hey, if you hear construction noise, they are working on our bay window. We're finally getting that replaced. So if you hear some crazy drilling, sawing, pounding noises, that's what's going on. Hey, welcome back, Jason.
Well, welcome back to you.
Thank you. Poke Tool. We're going to be giving away one Poke Tool today at the end of the show. Get in your hashtag freeze throughout the show. Hopefully, I'll remember to say it again before the end of the show. But yeah, one free show, one free Poke Tool. Do it as we normally do it. Oh, hey, do you want to see, even though we weren't around last week, do you want to see what I've been doing?
Sure.
So remember that bass that I did?
Uh-huh.
I painted it up. And there's all the little details to it. So yeah, I wanted to prime it and paint it, and after sculpting the whole thing, so I like it.
Well, we weren't done yet, so you're ready to scrape that paint off again, right?
No, look at that.
No.
That's a cool. Look at that mini. You know where that mini's from?
Looks familiar. Where's it from? Go ahead.
It's an old Confrontation mini.
Yeah.
So I have a ton of old Confrontation minis to try to, but I have something Reaper to show off. Look at this.
Huh. We
They
should large
teased
screen
it.
that if we can. What is that?
Yeah. So I don't know if Justin is paying attention, if we can go large screen on this, or he's not paying attention. I'll just make it. Does that work? Is that better? Wait. No, it doesn't work. This is projected, or was projected to be the miniature for November, $40.
Was
exclusive.
projected. What happened?
I don't know. Things change over there so much. I never really know what's going on. Who sculpted this, Jason?
All right, I'm here. I can blow it up. Hold on.
I think that's Bobby, isn't it? No.
No.
That's
This
me. I
is my
sculpted that one.
co-host. My co-host sculpted this.
I did indeed.
So he's a sinister looking gnome on a turkey.
Yep.
Well, it's pretty cool. So that's going to be, you spend $40. He'll come free, or if you just want to buy him outright, he'll be in Bones USA material. Then,
cool.
Kind of a preview even further down the road. Check
what
this out.
What is that one now?
This is also sculpted by my co-host, Jason Weeby.
It is. Good Lord.
He's
been a busy guy.
This is roided out buff Santa. Now, he's still got a fair amount of work to do on him. I still want to clean up some stuff on him.
He's not super buff. Excuse me.
He's got some
actually,
old man abs.
He's actually picked up the nickname Santa Daddy.
Yeah, he's got some.
Daddy, because of the dad bod, probably.
Yeah, well, he's got some abs.
Instead of Father Christmas.
Yeah, he's got some crazy pants. And
yeah, I had an idea. For some reason, I was thinking of a kind of a druidy Santa Claus, and it seemed to kind of go together pretty well. So that's your Santa Claus of the Wildwoods right there.
Oh, yeah, it's really cool. It's a different take on it. I was really pleased to look. Fix My Toaster 76. You know what company this comes through from? This will be Reaper exclusive. So the first one is October miniature. That's when November, I should say, since we're already in October. This will be November, and this will be in December. And I think they'll just continue on and be in the catalog after November. You can get them in Bones USA material. So these are cool. I have not.
Someone's
I think
asking if Thanksgiving paints are flavored this year.
I doubt that.
You don't. Okay.
But you never know. I wouldn't taste
I
them.
don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
not in the paint part of it at all.
So that's what's going on. We'll show them off again maybe later, but they've been a lot of fun. That's what I've been up to. Is doing that. So what are we going to do today?
Well, what do you want to do? Why don't you haul out one of your dried green stumps or one of your setup green stumps? I thought maybe we could talk about the second part of sculpting, which would be instead of additive sculpting,
Uh,
subtractive sculpting a little bit. So,
ooh.
sanding or scraping or that kind of stuff for extra effect, which
Uh-huh.
is one of the reasons I like to use the crispy or putty. What do
Oh,
you
okay.
got there?
Oh,
Turkey
someone mentioned
brown?
turkey brown, turkey brown.
Oh,
It
well,
usually
that is
comes out.
flavored like turkey, isn't it? Or does it just smell like turkey?
Well, if you burned your turkey, then maybe it tastes like that.
If you cooked it in a plastic Tupperware or something?
Yeah, and added paint to it,
Yeah,
maybe it would taste
yeah.
like that. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, what I wanted to show you that stump's almost done. Do you have one that's not almost done?
What do you mean almost done? Like I
Well, do you have
finished
one
them.
that's just more brief?
Uh,
Yeah. What do you got?
this one, I got that.
Yeah, you're kind of a stump machine.
I I, I
Huh.
s- I have a non-finished side. How about that? There's not much work done
Okay.
on this side. How about that?
Well,
That work?
see the way you've been doing uh,
Stumps.
your bark texture, it hasn't left a lot of room to do what I was talking about. But we
An
could,
overachiever. Why not? I'm a natural,
we could. I know you're a natural. I keep forgetting.
natural, natural stumper.
Natural born stumper.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things about having a crisper putty, and I'll use this stump that I've been working on just on the show, not in between like you have,
Mm-hmm.
but uh, you can go back in with scrapers and sanders and even add more detail,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So if you wanted, let's see here, if I can get that, you can go ahead and just scratch in, and an X-Acto would work real good.
Uh huh.
What works even better if you want to is get something called graver points,
Mm-hmm.
Graver,
Okay.
and that's what you would use by hand for cutting trenches in like gold or silver. So you get them from a jewelry supply house,
Mm-hmm.
but they're a little bit more wedge shaped on the end instead of just sharp.
Okay.
But the whole idea is that you can go back in on some of these smoother areas and even get more lines scribed in there.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And this would work for all kinds of things. One of the things that I've used it for fairly successfully is going back in when a miniature is all finished and maybe scribing very lightly a cloth texture on
Oh.
a particularly rough piece of cloth,
Mm-hmm.
or bark
Mm-hmm.
texture works. Now, the other thing that I wanted to show you on this is you can also take not just the scraping part, but you can take the little knife part and actually go in to the top there where we left, where we wanted to make it broken.
Yeah.
And you can reach in there with a few more strokes from your X-Acto knife. Just think little wedges that you're popping out. And you can make big ones by going from both sides, or small ones just by doing one side and pulling up. So you go in just a little bit and pop it out again. It
Yep, let me
takes a
see.
little bit of practice to figure out exactly how much stock you want to remove there.
Okay.
But you see what I'm saying? That makes a super sharp edge.
Mm-hmm.
So if you didn't get it as sharp as you would like to in the putty in your additive phase, you can go back and refine all those details again by using a scraper. You see how that works?
Yeah.
And you can get all sorts of broken effects. That would also work really good on bricks, rocks, anything that you wanted to break up or snap up a little bit to weather it.
So I haven't been a good student because I wasn't paying attention to what you were doing, and I just went off on my own.
No, it's fine. You just that shows initiative.
Hmm.
But on these little table fungus, you could also go back in and take some divots out of there if you want them to look older.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Now, sometimes I'm trying to find the right X-Acto knife. Okay. I've got one here. Remember, long ago I showed you how to snap the very tip off the X-Acto?
Yes.
Yeah. So I've got mine mounted in this little pocket knife deal. But if you turn the X-Acto upside down, you can get an even bigger scrape. So I'm just showing you on this flat piece. So if you wanted to do planks, and you didn't manage to get all the texture in there that you wanted to get, or you decide to prime it and you realize that by the time you get some more paint on there, there's not going to be any texture left. You could go back in and with a X-Acto and scrape a nice wooden texture into the planks. So see how that works?
Okay, Trash asks a question. At what point when sculpting for production does scraping for detail not really make sense, since it may not translate to the cast?
It all depends on how aggressive you are with your texture.
Yeah.
You could scrape this as deep as you wanted. Obviously, there's a point when you're just doing a one-off piece where it's going to be deep enough to paint. If you're doing it for production, you're going to want to go even deeper. For production, if I'm doing stuff like wood grain, I try to do that mostly in the additive portion of the sculpting rather than scraping it later. But for the detailing of a miniature, especially, you can try it now with some of the bones, and some of the Bones USA can be scraped and grooved after it's already cast.
I've got a little night guy here. And Bobby doesn't really add like nicks and worn pieces. He's kind of lazy.
Right.
And,
well, I'll tell you, it's especially digitally, that winds up being more laborious than it is in green putty. I've been working on that big lighthouse sculpture, and trying to get that all weathered down has taken longer than getting the main forms in.
Hey, show everybody what you've done. You were showing Justin and I before the show. Let's take a look at it. Let's get an exclusive. Let's get an exclusive on the show. A show exclusive. Hey, Justin, you see that? Look at that. Dude, that's awesome. What percent done are you right now? Is that completely done, or you got some more?
Oh, no, that's nowhere near done. Okay. Well, no, it's near done. The step I did after this, after I took this picture, was now I'm going back with ropes and ties,
Oh,
because
cool.
if you remember the original graphic, a lot of this stuff was not just nailed together, it was bound together with rope wrappings. And then there's some ropes that hang off some of the edges. Uh, I'm going back in and putting some cracks on the rocks, a few more wrinkles on the walrus, that kind of thing, just
Yeah.
to really spice it up a little bit. And then, of course, we have the conversion kit, which is the palisades that go across the top, around the
Hmm.
top, like the sharpened logs. And then there's a couple of figures. There's a soldier figure for uh, the signal tower conversion, and then
Hmm.
there's a great lighthouse keeper, undead lighthouse keeper, and a lobster trap that goes on that platform uh, when it's all finished. And then we'll
That's
have to
all.
figure out exactly what size we're making it. It's a
Yeah.
little bit uh, it's a little bit small compared to the figures on the art, so we have to kind of juggle the size, make sure it fits within what we want to do as far as the molds and all that, and
Hmm.
then exactly how to cut it apart. Um, so there's still those steps left, but what you see there is pretty much the gist of it anyway.
Nice. I like the stonework,
Yeah,
all the different
yeah,
sizes, and
it well, the drawing is so great and very
yeah,
evocative with the different size rocks. And
right.
again, you always struggle as a sculptor, because a lot of times the artist will send you a sketch, right? A very neat
Mhm.
sketch, but then that's only 2D. So you got to figure out like how those stairs are actually wound around there, for instance, or
Right.
how the door actually is going to open, or how the guy gets on the platform from the stairs. All
Okay.
those things are things that you have to eventually work out once it's in 3D.
Or what
But
is the walrus's name?
well, I think they're calling him the slaughter walrus,
Hmm. Oh,
but I don't know
maybe
what
he
his
doesn't
name
want to be a
is.
slaughter walrus.
Yeah, he will be. I believe the walrus on the rock is a separate piece,
Okay,
also,
that'd be
so
cool.
that
That'd
preserves
be
our ability in the future to maybe have him as a separate piece.
right. I like that a lot. That's great. A little bit
Thanks.
of an OSHA issue with the stairs. There's not having a railing or anything.
Yeah, there's a few OSHA issues there for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I was, if well, we had talked at one point about making it a dice tower and putting a railing on the stairs so you could roll a dice around it. But by the time you start doing that, it really turns into a project all by itself.
Oh yeah, that'd be
So
massive too. It'd probably be a
we
lot
would have
bigger.
wanted to kickstart that as its own piece at
Yeah.
that point,
Yeah.
instead of just a premium for the Kickstarter. So, but
That's
that's what I've been working on.
well, that's awesome. You've been busy. You got November's mini. You have December's mini most likely, or it'll be part of some kind of December thing. And then you've
Yep.
got the Lighthouse of Doom.
Oh yes, and several other pieces that haven't been revealed yet.
I know. Is there anything else you want to show us since we got
No, I don't think so. I
okay.
No, I didn't get a chance to get loaded up. I had a picture of the painted Kathy Wapple tribute mini from Dark
Ah,
Sword, but I didn't load it up on the computer. So
is is Bob and Julie on?
I
I
don't
didn't
know.
see what they usually are. I have to say that yeah, they are. They are. Hey Bob.
Ooh,
If Bob can see this tonight. This is what I've just been screwing around this week, goofing around on. Is this is a space girl? I think she was in Bones 5 in the core
yeah.
set. Um, but yeah, And she was
A little
a
bit
God. She was a VIP
Doris
figure.
vibe.
Yeah, she was a VIP figure forever ago. And I found her in my pile, and I was like, oh, that's something I haven't done in a while. So that was just me screwing around. I should have been sculpting though. I should have been practicing my sculpting craft.
Oh, I don't necessarily think so. I think you
Because I'm
do what you're gonna do.
all right.
So
So,
let's.
sorry, you go for it.
The other thing I was gonna talk about real quick was you can take some of these little knots of putty we had left over
Uh huh.
and just use a little bit of sanding
Oh,
and sand some facets on them so they look a little bit more rock-like.
uh huh. I got some. I went and bought some microfine tapered files, sand sticks.
Oh yeah. Well, now you don't want to clog them up on. You probably want to use something fairly coarse on this stuff.
Well, I got that too. I'm super coarse. I don't have it on the stick though.
Okay, so I've taken and cut just sanded three little facets off of there.
Mm-hmm.
In the same way we were doing the bits, you can actually use the blade or the backside of the blade to scrape something flat. So sand a flat and then go back over it by scraping the flat area with your knife. And that'll even give you more of a sharper edge on that if that's what you want.
Let me do. I make another facette. That's French.
Is it?
Uh huh.
Okay.
You cannot fix this.
So basically, if you had a bunch of these little wads of putty just left over, you could sit with a sanding stick and your knife and just whittle a whole bunch of little rocks to use on bases as scatter terrain.
You could do this while you're watching The Rings of Power.
You could.
And that's a great segue into. Did you finish watching the episodes?
I did. Yes.
Because we've been encompassing in fantasy dorks movie reviews into our show. That's what my angle. And so, what did you enjoy it overall?
I did.
What was your?
I did, but like so many things lately, I mean, it's just the way of the world. I think it's sort of like with superhero movies. You have to kind of watch it and disengage your prior knowledge, maybe.
Yes.
Of some of the stuff from the 50 or 60-year-old books, right?
Yes.
And just indulge yourself with the vision of the director and the people that are working on the movie. And I think taken on its own, I really enjoyed Rings of Power.
You know, you just put it, you just stole everything I was going to say, but I'm going to say stuff anyways. I totally agree.
Well, you asked me, you left the door open.
Oh, I know. I didn't expect you. Well, I should have known you would be so succinct and intelligent in your response. But yeah, it good TV. I liked it. I loved that they are taking that and look, they're pulling from the appendices, they're pulling from unfinished tales, they're pulling from all these things, and they're consolidating thousands of years in the Second Age, and they're trying to put it into a series that can be digestible for people that don't know all that shit. And right. I don't know all of it. I know a good portion of it, and I can see where there's, well, that's not really how Saruman did with the forging of the rings, but that makes sense. It makes sense in the story. It's cool. I dig Galadriel. I think she's cool. I dug
that's the other thing is what good epic in our history didn't change in the telling from
Oh yeah.
generation to generation.
Well, look at I think the best thing that I can think of, the thing I reread all of the Lord of the Rings books prior to the movies initially coming out, right? And then we get to the Two Towers, and one of my favorite parts in the book was Entmoot. Well, they changed the way Entmoot really panned out from the book
Oh,
into the
yes, they
movie. It
did.
was totally different, major change. Watched it, separate my book sense from watching the movie. And I was like, oh, that sucks. I didn't like that. But I don't know. Dude, I like covering this rock. This is a really cool idea.
Yeah.
I like this. This
Yeah. And you
is,
can get, so you can scrape it down so that you can get the
yeah,
rocky look. And then you can go back in again with your blade and you can scratch little cracks in it. You could take chips out of it depending on
yeah.
how old and rattly you want it to look.
So I would high recommendation for um, Rings of Power. Now I found a really, oh wow, I just chipped that off. A really cool YouTube page, YouTube channel, whatever you want to call it. It's called Nerd of the Rings. Have you ever heard of
Uh-huh.
that guy? It's
No,
really
I
good.
haven't.
This guy is so into it all, and he does reviews of the shows and everything. But if you want to know the history of Gandalf per the books, it's really well done, and he's good. He's not snotty, not no attitude. He kind of likes the series. He's great. He's a great recap of the episodes after you watch them. You can see if you're
Yes.
interested in what was consistent with the books, what was a departure, those kind of things. So I don't know, but I like this. It's better to get. I was hard. It was hard for me to get the planes of the rocks in the
Right.
additive phase.
Right.
This is better. Yeah, Gene's always talked
Well,
to me
again,
about.
that's another reason for using this CRISPR putty, especially in basing techniques.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
there's a question. I was watching
Great.
Wapple last night,
Mm-hmm.
and he mentioned a Silecast Reaper Cappy model may not have the stuffed animal. That is a decision that is going to be made at Reaper HQ. Um, there's some various reasons behind it, and I don't know exactly how that's going to be resolved.
I'm sure it's Justin's fault.
It's likely something to do with Justin, probably,
Yeah,
and his fear of stuffed animals.
yeah. That's usually yeah. I'm seeing if I have. Oh, yeah.
So that same scraping technique we just used on the rock,
Uh
you
huh.
could easily use on the edge of a sword.
Ah, to make it sharpen.
So, like I've got this round piece, but if you imagine that one end of this, one side of this round is say a sickle blade
Uh
or a
huh.
scythe blade, you can actually bevel it from both sides. This is one of those sounds, I don't know, bothers some people. Some people it's probably an ASMR thing.
Yeah, we have a. This is our AMSR ish episode. All right, so what else were we watching that we were going to talk about? All right, so did you watch all of House of Dragons?
Sorry, did I watch all of the what?
House of Dragons.
No, I didn't. I did
I don't
watch
know. We'll see if
Andor though.
anybody. Yeah, I'll see if anybody has anything to say. We started watching them and we have not finished yet. Um, I got to the point of the transition of actors. For those, I don't want to do any spoilers or anything like that. I don't know. It's just I haven't been able to get into it. I like the sets are awesome. The costumes are great. The dragons are fun. Well, the wyverns. You say wyvern or wyvern? How do you say it?
I've heard it wyvern and wyvern are the two ways.
Okay, wyvern. We'll just say wyverns for the rest of the episode. The wyverns are great. The House of Wyverns, the show is it's okay. It's good. I like it. It's not like I was really looking forward to the next episode of Rings of Power. But not to say that this show isn't any good. It's good. It's wyverns. Wyverns. Yeah, that's what Curse 13, the way they wyverns or wyverns. Verns.
I don't know. I've always thought it was wyvern, but I don't have any
I don't know.
basis for saying
No.
that other than the way it looks when you read it.
I like the carving part too.
Well, I figured you might.
Just got to make sure you don't cut yourself.
Well, I was going to mention that, but all I was going to say is just make sure you don't cut yourself. You have to admit, I mean, we have to assume that there's a certain amount of skill that you're going to have or facility with an X-Acto knife if you're even starting off in this hobby. So you'll cut yourself a couple times, and that'll be you'll know not to do it again.
So what we've done to be able to carve this to remind folks is we're not just, even though it looks like we're using green stuff, we are, but we're also mixing the green stuff with Abe's epoxy sculpt 50-50.
Yep.
So you can take half of this and half of the A. A is yellow because B is going to be for blue. And that gives you the hardness to do this subtractive carving.
Yes, and it does. You can do that with straight green putty, but it's a little bit more of a delicate process because the green putty is still a little more flexible, so it might want to tear and chunk out a little bit. This seems to not be that. You can also polish it. You can take a buffing wheel on your little Dremel and polish it to almost a mirror polish if you want to.
Why would I want to do that?
Maybe for water.
Oh, okay.
So if you did like the edge, like I've been curving this edge on this little curved piece of putty. And just like we were talking about with the rocks and the stumps, if you made that into a sword blade that you wanted to look old, you could take some notches out with your blade. So then you've got kind of a notched. Let's see if you can see it that way.
Ooh.
So you can take your notches out like that.
Well, Trash asked a question. Once I get this down, are you going to sculpt a Crow's Nest Pokey Tool 2? Now, I don't know about
It'd be
that.
Hard to beat. It'd be hard to beat Julie and Bob's.
Oh, there's no way. There is absolutely no way I could surpass this, right? So
yeah,
I don't.
It'd
even
have
know.
to be a whole different subject, maybe.
It would need to be something. Yeah, I couldn't even come close to this. I have thought of.
You know what you could sculpt is an actual little crow's nest, maybe.
Maybe.
That'd make a good pokey tool land.
Speaking of pokey tools, did you see this one that Bob did?
No.
It was in the October release, so you can get it online right now. It's Bones USA, I believe.
Oh, cool.
It's a pokey tool. Yeah, I placed an order to get some new paint, and oh, you know what else is still out there? And I don't think. Did you see that they put the rest of the resin dragon bust that's sculpted by Julie?
Oh, they're up for sale?
They're up for sale, yeah.
So you could order that, and you could get your Halloween Tool,
Tool.
and I think there's more
Yeah.
Halloween giveaways this month still, isn't there?
I don't know.
For at
Yeah,
least
there's
another, what, 8 days?
yeah.
No, 6 days.
This guy, and I don't have his shield on. He's in Bones USA now. He was a Dungeon Dweller guy. Rhonda did an
Uh-huh.
excellent paint job with him. But I was really, I don't know. They're fun. I like the Bones USA stuff just because they're great. They're great kind of speed painting, kind of fun, quick
Does
miniatures.
does he not have a head?
He has a head. It's tiny. It's Bobby sculpted it, so it's out of proportion totally. But he's got a shield.
That's just the angle.
Yeah, it's just the
Yeah,
angle.
there, I see it now. Okay.
Yeah, it's a tiny little pea head.
I was thinking
He's
maybe
been
you
doing
cut the head off for Halloween.
Oh yeah, there is a ghoulie bag.
Yeah, I think
I got
that's
the
the
ghoulie bag
witch,
too
isn't it?
with the witch. Yeah, it's the witch. Sculpted by. I mean, this has been the Bob and Julie promo show lately, and this is sculpted by Bob Rodolphe. Cool pumpkin too. Let's look at it. There it is. It's cool.
Oh, that's sweet.
Was this a new miniature or is this? I think this is a new one. Yeah.
I don't know. Let's
Halloween
see
is
what they
their
say.
holiday.
Halloween
Is
is
this
our
a new
holiday.
miniature?
Well, we knew that.
Was this a redo? I think it's a new miniature. It's new. It's new, brand new.
It looks new.
Yeah, the cat's really cool too. There's a cat. See the cat and the pumpkin
Yep.
and the crazy witch.
Well, it's got
It
everything.
doesn't have to be crazy. Rhonda did a great paint job too.
And a broom.
Yep.
Oh, we
Yeah.
should have grabbed pictures of Rhonda's paint jobs.
I know, but she's got her own show. We don't need to
That's true.
cover in public. Yeah, she's got her own show. Julie. Oh, Julie did the cat. Julie does great cats. I used her
handy.
cat in my. I used one of her cats in my ReaperCon entry this year.
All right. Well, what do you want to do now? We've been doing some scraping.
I want to. We were going to do some kind of plants, like standalone plants. Like even they could be forest plants.
Okay.
They could be alien plants. They could be
All right.
whatever.
Well,
So
you
how
may
could
have.
plants that I could take and either put on a stump or be by themselves or add a little more interest to the base.
Okay. Well, for this, I would say on your initial ones, it might be easier to do them on your plastic sheet. And then once they harden, plant them onto your base.
Okay.
This is another thing you could do with little bits of putty once you were done, you still had some little bits of putty. Or as you said, if you're watching TV or whatever. It's one of the reasons I'm a lousy TV watcher. I always feel like I should be working on something.
I listen to audiobooks when I do anything artsy. Just a little bit of information there.
Well, what have you been? What are you, like self-actualization stuff?
No. All dork stuff.
Who moved
there's
my
a
cheese?
whole. Yeah, no. There's a whole genre of audiobooks called lit RPG, so literary RPG, where you are basically the main character has somehow one form or another been thrown into a virtual reality sort of simulator.
Oh.
Whether they did it and they entered intentionally, got tricked into it or whatever, and then it's like they are the character and then they level up and they get, it's like you or whatever, you're in an RPG game and they get to make their choices and they're leveling up and they get anyway. So Sentence to Troll is one. I'm listening to a really good one, Dungeon Crawl Carl, right now. It is super stupid funny. It's just dumb funny. And there's The Land, and there was another one series called The Land that's really good. Anyways, that's what I've been listening to lately. It's mindless, it's fun, and I can just paint along with it and groove to it.
Cool. Are we getting sponsorship money for that?
I wish. I should work on that, right?
I would think.
Yeah.
So there's a couple ways to look at doing plants.
This close to my body, Sir John? This close? Should be right there? Or on the camera? Right there. Right there? Is that good? Maybe that's good. Right there? That's right there. That's perfect right there. Anyways, just rolling back. All right, so what are we doing?
Okay, so I took some tapered cones out of putty.
Uh-huh.
I set them on my little plastic sheet. And ideally, as we've talked about in the past, you'd wait for it to kind of harden a little bit.
Uh-huh.
We don't have that time. So I'm going to gently pull them up. I flattened them.
Uh-huh.
And now I'm just kind of, I have 4. I should have done 5. I always think it looks better with odd numbers. But in the interest of time, now obviously you're going to look at whatever plant you're trying to imitate. This way, this thing would be good. This little technique would be good for long broadleaf plants or cacti. You know, if you made those more of a paddle shape. And again, I'm using my tweezers. And I do use tweezers a lot.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of
all of these.
Go ahead.
What we've been doing on all these sculpting things, the biggest sculpting tool aha moment so far has been the use of these tweezers.
Well,
they've been fun.
You know, I've done a lot of different artwork in my life, different things, carving stone and building things, all sorts of stuff. And after a while, your hands tend to get a little gnarly. And sometimes the joints are a little less flexible. So I do find that the tweezers help me restore some of my more fine control that I maybe don't have as much of anymore. But can you see? Let's see here.
Oh, yours are coming up already? Look at that.
Yeah. I actually peeled mine off before I tried to stick them together.
Oh, that's where I messed up.
Well, not necessarily. If you need to texture the stuff, you're going to have to do it that way, the way you're doing it now. Okay. If you're going to try to scribe veins in there, you'd have to do it flat first.
You could make a starfish this way too.
Yep, I do make starfish that way. So there's a good.
Your plant is much more healthy than mine.
No, you don't need to squeeze so much with the tweezers.
I
I'm going to use
know.
them to put it up.
I was trying to make it go.
One of the reasons I always advocate getting the tweezers that have a lot of spring to them is so that you don't
Uh,
have to squeeze too much, right? You want to
oh,
be able to put pressure on them and then have them release almost right away. Sometimes you get them and they're not tempered quite as well and they're
yeah.
mushy and they're much harder to use for this.
Well, that's the tweezers you sent me are super mushy, so I'm blaming you.
No, I don't think
I
so. I
got some.
sent you some good ones.
I have some springy ones here. Now I'm doing much better now, without your sabotage.
Well, maybe you've got them confused.
Maybe, maybe,
Or maybe when I
maybe.
sent you tools, I actually tried them and sent you the shitty ones.
Maybe that one's dead. I'm killing this one. Let's do that again. Let's make this. Let's make the same thing again.
Okay.
I'm gonna watch you this time instead of just saying yeah. We're gonna have 3 petals.
Okay. I'll do 3 then. Now, this would work, obviously, as we've always talked about. You have to look and see out in nature, look at some of the plants, or in your garden, look at some of the plants. And there's all sorts of patterns. Most of them can be reduced to what the fractal equations, but basically they repeat in a spiral, the leaves.
Okay. All right. So we got the 3. Now we're rolling them.
Just flattening them a little. And you can shift back and forth between tools. Since I had this tool from rolling it, I went ahead and grabbed it for this.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find a better. Let me grab that. Okay.
Everybody get your hashtag freeze in at the end of the show. We're gonna give away a Poke Tool sculpted by
So
Julie
now I'm pulling
Guthrie.
up.
Oh, hold
I'm
on.
pulling them up, but I'm going to start with this first one. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of tap the edge down a little bit so it sticks a little bit more to the plastic,
Okay.
the fat edge. Then I can move the other ones over, and you can build in some dimension to the leaves. Oh, I think I just heard UPS. I wonder what's here. Maybe Bones 5.5?
Yeah. Is
Maybe
yours
the
still
Forest
coming
of
in the mail?
Radagast? There's all sorts of.
Ooh.
It's been a week for games and stuff this week, it seems like.
All right. So I've got my 3.
So you've got your 3, and they should be kind of jammed together in the center. Oh,
Yeah.
see,
They're
you did it
they're they're.
again.
I did what again?
I the you were gonna watch me.
I but then I lost it. So what was I gonna do
Okay.
again?
So what I did was I just took and tacked down one of the leaves on the fat end,
Uh huh.
and then I
Uh huh.
pulled it up, and then I
Uh
moved
huh.
the other 2 over. So I didn't try to put them together till they were already
You
on their
didn't.
ends.
I prematurely assembled them.
It's okay. Again, it's not gonna.
and just failure.
No, this kind of stuff is a lot of it's serendipity, just trying to figure out
All right. So,
what works the best for you. But I do it this way, then you can use the tweezers to curve the leaves a little bit. And I would probably tend to just build a bunch of those on a plastic sheet and then let them sit overnight. And then remember, you haven't really jammed them together that hard at the base. So when you take them off, you want to be kind of careful. But, if you're used to using those tufts and the landscaping stuff that's commercially available, all that stuff's fairly fragile. So use the same degree of precision when you're moving this stuff around. Now, if you wanted to, you could take probably a toothpaste or a toothbrush bristle and stick it in the middle there if you wanted like a flower stem.
Oh.
You could add that right into the center before it dries. Right? And then once it's all dry, you could come back and do almost the same technique, only in place with just make a little tiny ball at the top of the toothbrush bristle, and then use your tweezers to pull out the little petals on the leaf.
Look at that. I got a good leaf. Look at this leaf. I did it better. Look at that. Look at that second one.
There you go.
The first one's kind of sad, but the second one, boom. Yeah, and it's not a pot leaf either.
Well, no, I wouldn't think it would be. Why would you put a pot leaf on there?
Oh, there's a certain person in chat that, thinks he's funny.
Although it isn't unknown. There's a Raupartha forest dragon out there that I'm pretty sure some of the leaf patterns are cannabis.
Oh, yeah? Oh, look at that. And then that leaf can go. Where'd that leaf go? I'm going to go put it there. So my wife, Michelle, has been taking art classes. Now, she has a master's degree in design, but she's been taking pastel classes.
Oh, neat. That was the first kind of art class I ever took was pastels.
Yeah. I mean,
Chalk pastels?
No, these are like real high intensity pigment pastels. So there's no smearing.
Right. Are they chalk, dry chalk, or are they oil?
They're dry chalk. Yes. They're not oil.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. She's been doing these landscapes, and I mean, look, she has a master's degree in art design. She's naturally good. Better than, I mean, if she ever decided to miniature paint, I would just quit because she'd probably kick my ass if she focused on it. But yeah, they're exceptional. They're amazing. I'm really impressed. Kind of neat. We went to, her teacher had a show down in Denver, and it was neat to see. It was with a bunch of other pastel artists, and it was neat to see what they do with pastels. Just really cool. Just another angle of things.
Yeah, you can get a lot of neat technique out of pastels.
Yeah.
My very first art teacher, Mrs. Jupp was her name, and she had a house filled with knickknacks. Mm-hmm. And the whole idea was you'd have to go to her house at a lesson and you'd grab one of the knickknacks and you'd have to finish drawing it in your pastels before the end of the class.
Oh, neat. That's cool.
And then she refined that in the spring. We'd have to go dig up a spring flower and we'd have to draw it before the flower wilted.
Hmm.
So one of the things I've done here is I've taken that same idea with the long leaves.
Ooh, that's cool.
Right?
You don't even show me
And
what you
I've
did
made
there.
just a little ferny type one.
Do that
right?
again. I'm going to watch this time. Do that again.
Now on this one,
Just
you'd want to, I hate to pull it up prematurely.
all right.
I would want to let it sit for a little while before I tried to pull it off the plastic, because
Okay.
otherwise you wind up smearing the little leaflets on it.
A little bit more on camera.
Sorry.
That's good. Yeah, okay. So you just flattened it out.
Yeah, it's basically like we've been doing pretty much a lot of the.
Mm-hmm.
Try to do a little bigger. I would also, if I was doing it for a base, I'd probably do it a little thinner, but I wanted to make sure you could see it.
Yeah.
And then you can go in and you can add a little vein
Stem.
detail if you want.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
And then again, I'd let it sit for a little bit, not
Uh-huh.
till it was hardened all the way. I don't know if I can see the little leaflets get a little disoriented. Or, as I've suggested before, the alternative, if you didn't have much time to wait, do several of them, go stick it in the freezer for a little while,
Mm-hmm.
and that'll help artificially harden the stuff for just the putty for just a little bit. And you can manipulate it, and then it'll still retain some of the stickiness without it being totally hardened off. But kind of the same idea. And you could do, if you wanted to do your marijuana leaves or whatever, I suppose you could. But you can use it to do ferns. You can use it to do oak leaves, maple leaves. I did some maple leaves once, but I think I told you before I used a uh, tube from the ferrule of a brush and actually shaped a maple leaf outline, and I used it
Yeah,
to stamp out the leaves.
that's a good idea.
So again, if you wanted to do an awful lot of detailing, a lot of repetitive work, you could sit and do
Mm-hmm.
that over and over and over. Do we tell them that pot is fully legal nationally in Canada? Well, I'm in Washington. It's about the same, except you can't grow it without a
You can
license.
you can grow it here, but you only grow a certain number of plants. But you can't sell it unless you have of course, a license to sell. Hey, Justin,
Yes.
let's do 2 cameras again.
Yeah, that's looking good.
What do you think?
I like it.
Yeah,
Very
a little
good.
more alien sporish, but I like that. This is another aha kind of thing. I like it.
Well, that's the whole reason we're doing this especially with the basing idea,
Yep.
because there's so many products. I mean, I see Wicked Elf in there. Of course, he's got some wonderful products for
Oh
detailing
yeah.
bases and things. But um, if you're just on a desert island, just you and some putty, you could still do your whole base this way.
Yeah. But then you're trapped there and nobody can see it, and you
Oh, I
you run
always
out of
I
paper.
always have little containers of putty no matter where I go.
Okay.
If I go on vacation, I like to make little tiny putty faces and leave them places.
Do you? That's cool.
So all along
I
the
like that
Oregon
idea.
coast, there's those big pieces of driftwood on the beach. If
Yeah.
you look, every so often there's maybe a thumbtack-sized little face stuck to one or two.
And that's a Weeby original.
Yep. Yeah, I haven't managed to get any in the new factory yet down at Reaper.
What do you mean?
I haven't managed to put any little faces down in the new factory at Reaper.
Oh, that's what we need to do next time we go.
Yeah. But don't tell anybody.
No, I'm not gonna. No, nobody will know. Nobody's watching. What do you think of that?
I like it. So now you'd either put it in the freezer for a little while or you'd let it harden
Uh-huh.
for a little while. And then
Okay.
you could pull it off there and curl it a little bit. Because, of course, nothing's really super flat. You want to always add a little bit of a curve so it looks more natural, I think.
A curve, a curve up or a curve sideways?
Well,
Which
just,
way is the curve?
well, no, like if you imagine if you pulled it off right now, it would be
Uh huh.
completely flat. Well, you'd want to
Okay.
have
Okay.
it curved down or up,
I, oh yeah, kind of
right?
like that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like
Like
the
that.
weight on the end of the leaf usually does curve the
Yeah.
leaf down.
Awesome. And then we could what we learned earlier today. After it hardens, you can scrape it a little bit too.
Yep, you could.
Cool.
Yeah, you could easily use a scraping technique if you didn't want
Mm-hmm.
to add the veins and the crenulations in there now. You could scrape them
Mm-hmm.
into it later.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
That's sweet. Okay, it's 10 after.
Wow, that went fast.
Yeah, I like this. This is fun. I hope this. Um, for those that are watching, is we're gonna go back and we'll do some interview shows like we used to
Oh,
in the
sure.
near future. Sure,
Absolutely.
but this is fun. This is? I wonder if is this getting old to people, or I guess it doesn't matter as long as you and I are having fun, right?
That's right. It's not for the
Yeah,
people. We're doing it for
no,
us.
it's doing it for us. So next week I'm going to be gone, but then the week after that we'll have a show, and then I'll be gone again the following week, and then it'll be Turkey Week. We'll do a show on. You want to do a show on Turkey Week?
Yeah. I could do
Okay,
one
we'll
on
do
the
a show.
50 week. I'm gone Thursday,
So we'll
of
do,
course, but
yeah. So alternating. We'll do not this week, not on next week. Then the others. Yeah, green users. Yeah, Bob and Julie. This is fun. We learned a lot. Whatever. But yeah, it's fun. It's cool. And then we can do some more. Oh, is there, besides sculpting full miniatures, is there any other ideas in the chat on kind of basing items, basing things, something you'd like to know that you could add to your base to your miniature? It's kind of the intent right now that what we're trying to do.
well, I'd
Anybody got any
say,
ideas?
even though I'm
Yeah.
not in the chat, well, I guess I'm in the chat. Do I have to type it in the chat or can I just say it?
You can say it.
I can say it. I'd say that we might want to do some urban things,
Urban. Ooh.
some
Urban
bricks and
things.
some rebar and,
Uh-huh.
assorted
Uh
shapes, urban shapes.
Valandar wanted undersea basing things like coral
Okay.
or seaweed. Silt is kelp, broken bones. Trash is going for animals. He wants squirrels or turtles. Um,
Well,
so turtle based.
I definitely think that could be another couple of shows is little
Yeah,
animals for bases for sure.
yeah.
Turtles,
That would be
frogs.
fun.
Frogs are always good to put on stuff, and they're fun to make.
Little lizards.
Little lizards. Yep, yep.
Let's
And
do
the nice
that
thing
next
again
show.
about with this putty that we're using is you
Uh,
don't really need to armature something that small. You could just directly sculpt it.
let's do that. So for the next show that we do, not next week, but the week after, we will do little lizards and turtles and little critters that you don't have to armature.
Okay.
Does that work? Does
We
that
could
work
do
for
a
you?
half hour just on worms and snakes.
Here, hold on.
That's like the easiest.
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna do my snake and worm tutorial. Boom. There you go. Straight
That's pretty
snake.
good.
Yeah, this is the
That's
snake
pretty
that
good.
they lay in the trail when I'm mountain biking in the afternoon, and you got to be careful because they lay there in the sun. They're trying to get some sun, and you try not to run over them. Or if you run over them, then they will have, and it's just a mountain bike, so they'll have little tire imprints right there. Boink, and his head's like,
I'm sure they appreciate
ah!
that.
No, you try to avoid them. And so, yeah.
Wasn't that the whole argument against mountain bikes in natural areas?
Well,
Just run
fish
over
might be
all the
fun.
nice woodland critters.
I've sculpted fish before. You
Yeah.
remember? Yeah. They were
Yeah.
pretty bad. I hid them
Yeah.
in a lot of resin. But
Yeah.
hey,
We
oh,
could
someone
certainly do
Valander
fish.
asked for eels. Here's an eel. There's an eel. That's a real short,
That's
stubby
pretty
eel.
good.
Yeah, right.
It's
And
similar to your snake.
yeah. And that
Oh,
he's been
except you gave it a smile.
yeah. That's a smiling eel. And
Well,
look, he's
eels are
curved.
generally happier, I think, because they are fish rather than snakes. And
Yeah.
most of
And
the
then he's
time,
got
eels don't get run over by idiots on mountain bikes.
no, but he's got a little flat tail too. Look at that. Boom.
Oh, okay. Well, that's really good.
Yeah.
Now, how would you do if you wanted to if you wanted to make that an eel? But what if
Uh-huh.
you wanted him to have like a fin all the way along his back? How would you do that?
Ooh. Ooh. Okay. Hold on. I don't even have my glasses on. This is going to be amazing. I'm telling you right now.
It's pretty good.
You like that?
Yeah. Now you can
And then
refine that with your tweezers.
yeah. I'm going to give him a better head.
You
There's
can
his
even
head.
texture it a little bit if you wanted to with your tweezers.
Yeah. And there's his eyeballs. in his mouth. See that?
It's fantastic. I can almost guarantee there's not been a better eel sculpted in this time slot on Twitch today.
Exactly. Look, um, we're doing our best here, and this is why I've just demonstrated why you are the instructor and I am the student on this show, right?
Okay.
Right. And this is a Bones 7 candidate right here. This
Yeah.
is what you should look forward to for Bones 7.
Well, I think you could turn that into just an even more perfect eel if you just went back in now and just refined that so it's a little thinner, maybe. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool, especially for a little base critter that's coming out of a little hole in the coral. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
the level of detail, you just have to be able to suggest it because you're going to do an awful lot with paint.
So we learned some fun stuff today with the scraping of the rocks. So
Yeah.
as a recap, rocks, scraping in textures and stuff. Here's some more textures.
Yep.
And
There you go.
then we did some plants. Jason was much more successful in that, and when I paid attention, mine got a little bit better. I redeemed myself a tiny bit with the leaf. And then, I freeball. I went a little freelance here and did a finned heel. Let me see.
Yep. It
Let's
looks
see
more
the
like a
pros work.
pollywog.
Yeah, you saw the amateurs work. Let's see the pros work.
What do you mean? Let's
Jason.
see the pros work.
Your work. I like your little plants. I got to practice those more. I'm gonna do those more. Those are pretty cool. Yeah, those are great. Yeah, so tune in week after next. We will do. Look at those. Those are awesome. We will see if I have been able to refine my plant making techniques, and then we're going to try to do some maybe a lizard and a frog.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
We could do that.
And then I still would like to do a tiny squirrel, a non-armature squirrel too, at some point. But I think we stick with the reptiles, amphibians round, and then maybe we do a squirrel for Thanksgiving week or something like that. Does that work?
Sure. What I would do for that is grab like a good scale figure.
Uh-huh.
Just it doesn't have to be painted, just one that we would have so that we can keep checking our sizes.
That's the Reaper one.
That's the Reaper squirrel, yes. I meant a human figure so we could check the size of what we were trying to do next to it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll do that. We got to pick the same figure probably. I guess we don't have to.
No, not really.
Okay.
I'll use my upcoming.
What's that? Look at that.
6 Lard Gulp guy.
Is that a Bone 6 cast or is that a print?
No. That's a digital print that the Van Patten's made for me.
Oh, look at that. That was nice of him.
Be a good scale.
Justin. Hey, everybody get your hashtag freeze in. I think everybody has them in by now. Justin, you want to do the drawing?
Yes.
And we'll wrap it up here in a few minutes.
All right. Have the winner.
All right. So, and the lovely winner of tonight's exclusive Crow's Nest Pokey Tool sculpted by Julie Guthrie and lettered on the back by Bob Rodolphe. And I don't have one out of the package in front of me right now. I'm ready. LC Drag 2002. Icy Drag. 2002. Congratulations. You have won a Poke
Very
Tool. Now,
good.
what do they do? Yeah, say Darth Abacus, Quindy LaRue, just throw it up there. There's your instructions on how you get your Poke Tool mailed to you. If you're in the US, hopefully you are, you'll get the Poke Tool. If you're outside of the US, then you're going to get a gift certificate in the mail for, what is it, like $20 or something, Justin?
No, I believe the process is if you're somewhere that we can ship economically from our UK hub, we will pallet it
Yeah.
over and it'll take a while.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay,
there's
you just may
some
take you a while to
exceptions.
get it.
Yeah, quite a while.
Yeah.
Like a month or
Okay.
so.
But you'll get it. But if you're in the US, then just be in the
Definitely.
US. It's easier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep, I agree with that.
it's easier.
Hey, look at these.
So
Did
if
I
you-
show you these last time?
No, what's that? That looks cool.
It's a measuring caliper from Bees, the guy that does Bees Putty.
Oh,
You
that's
can get them
our
on
sponsor.
beesputty.com.
Yeah.
If you need to
And
transfer a size, right?
uh-huh.
They're used so you can check a size and transfer it
Oh,
to a
show me
different
how you
piece.
use that. How do you use that?
Well, very simply, like if you want to make all your leaves the same,
Uh-huh.
right? You'd make the one leaf or your drawing, measure it
Mhm.
like that, right? And then you
Right.
could make your next leaf over here and just make sure that it's the same size.
Ah.
It doesn't sound like it's that important, but it really is important on some things.
I think it's important. So it seems important to me. All right. So thanks everybody for watching. Had a good time. Cranky Dog, yes, you did. It's been fun. We will not be here next week, but we're going to be here the week after that, as I've mentioned repeatedly. And anything you like to say in parting, Jason?
Boy, not right at the moment. No,
Yeah.
not really. I hope everybody has a very good Halloween.
Yeah, have a good
Well, and Julie
Halloween. The
mentioned it's
day
their
after
special
Halloween,
time, but what's that?
day after
What's that? I
Halloween,
didn't hear.
place your $40 order and you can get the turkey dome.
Yeah, man, he turned out good.
Yeah, turkey dome. And then December, let's just pimp Jason's sculpting a little bit more. Here's the Santa, Dad bod Santa door, Santa, Dad bod Santa.
Yep, he's looking good too.
Alrighty. Well, thanks a lot, guys. Who are we gonna raid?
We're gonna raise your favorite.
Otters, baby.
Always the otters.
Go raid the otters. I
Why
raid
haven't we
those otters.
sculpted an otter? Why do we keep getting caught on squirrels?
Oh,
That's true.
an
We should
otter.
sculpt an otter, actually.
We should sculpt an otter.
We
Cool.
otter.
Actually, not only that, you should sculpt an otter, and I'll put it in my son's room since his room is decked.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I can't paint
Does
it.
your son like? No, you can't paint. I've seen you paint.
Yeah, it's horrendous. But,
It's really bad.
it's really
Love
yeah,
you, Justin.
he likes otters. Like, he likes otters. Most of his stuffed animals are otters. That's kind of the theme of his nursery.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. You guys are awesome, and see you in a couple weeks. Bye
Thanks very
bye.
much.
Bye bye, everybody.
Bye bye.